NYYST. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York. Yankee sports talk, homie, New York. Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 420, and this team makes me want to celebrate like it's 420, but not celebrate because they're good. Celebrate to forget. We are live here on NYY Underground. I am your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And SGR.
Okay.
So I told you last episode that I didn't feel like the regular intro was fitting, but I kept up with it with tradition, but with it being 420 and then continuing to play bad, I had to put a little
got to change something up, right,
pal? A little what's the improvisation there?
Okay.
So we are live here on NYY Underground here on Thursday night. The Yankees are off tonight before they start a series in Chicago against the Cubbies, who were red hot, by the way, and threw a combined no-hitter last night. So for a Yankee team that doesn't want to hit anymore, that should be fun. Also, while we're here, so if you're in the chat live tonight, please like this video and subscribe to NYY Underground. I'm sure Pete will drop it in the chat, the link to the tickets for NYYU Day, which is just about a week away, next Saturday, September 14th, against the Red Sox. We'll all be out there, so we'd love to see you. Get your tickets now. It'll be next Saturday before you know it. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave us a 5-star rating and review, and make sure you tell everybody NYYST is the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. And before we get into all the bad, a voice you'll be hearing on the Odyssey app sooner rather than later broke once again, I should say. John Sterling will be back for the final week of the season and into the postseason. So
I don't like that, Christian. I really don't. He had such a good sign off, and now he's coming back. What is that? Okay.
Even if the Yankees do the impossible, well, not the impossible, it's the very possible or the unfathomable based on where they were at one point this season to get eliminated in, say, a wild card round, I still think it's more fitting for John Sterling to go out with a postseason in the postseason in a random April day against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Daniel Berry Sports Highlights joining the U. Welcome.
Okay. Welcome to the team. Okay. So the Yankees decided that they don't want to play good baseball once again, and they dropped the series to the Texas Rangers. This is now their third straight series loss. They lost to the Washington Nationals. They lost to the St. Louis Cardinals, and now they lost to the Texas Rangers, who are
all of them are above 500, right?
No, only the Cardinals are above 500 because they beat the Yankees.
Right. All right.
So the Yankees are continuing to play bad baseball. They're 10-10 in their last 20, I believe, all against poor baseball teams. So it has not been a fun stretch here. Aaron Judge is in a massive slump. He hasn't hit a home run in 9 games. Juan Soto seems to be kind of coming out of it. Had a home run last night. He's been hitting the ball a little bit harder. But a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight, it's irrelevant to what's happening on the field. The Yankees are just, it's not, because obviously a big part of the show is going to be Clay Holmes. The Yankees, they can't get out of their own way in the form of their decision making. So I don't know if you guys think that Clay Holmes is the bigger story, or more so the Alex Verdugo into the Jason Dominguez conversation is the bigger story.
Well, I think the Yankees made that one easy for us for once, right? Took long enough. But I think the fact that the Yankees finally made the right decision there makes Holmes less of a story at this point, because how long have we been reporting that this guy can't be the closer? I mean, how long did we have to say it before the Yankees finally said it?
Well, I was saying it before they even threw a pitch in the season, during the season, that I didn't want him to be the closer, that I thought he'd be a major downfall for this team. and it was September 3rd, or it was September 4th. I'm sorry. It was September 3rd was the blown game. September 4th before the Yankees decided they were going to do anything about it.
Yeah. So look, there's a simple law in life, right? If you make the right and obvious decisions, you are held less accountable, right? We can sit here and still say it took too long, but at least we're sitting here saying at least the Yankees did something about it. And then it becomes less of a factor, right? This is a move that was obvious, and it happened. Now there's a more glaring issue. And whichever one you want to start with, I'm good with. But to answer your question, the bigger story at this point now is Verdugo.
Well, let's just get to the super chat real quick from Jeff J. Thank you for joining us here tonight, Jeff. Evening, brothers. Can't wait to meet you all at the stadium next Saturday. But which Yankee team are we going to see? The great one or the crap we watched the past 2 weeks? NYYU to the moon. Well, if I knew how to answer that question, the Yankees wouldn't be losing all these baseball games. I'd figure a way to fix it. But
why don't you get to the next one just while we're up?
Oh, there's another one. Okay. Kyle Millay, definitely can't wait to meet you all next Saturday. Looking forward to seeing the Yankees beat the Red Sox. Even if they don't, we will still have fun. It's going to be AO fun.
Yeah,
So
baby.
fun.
AO fun, baby.
Okay.
We got that AO fun.
AO fun. Okay. A-okay.
So look, maybe the shorter conversation is Clay Holmes at this point. So let's start there because the Alex Verdugo conversation is very layered. It's not as simple as what Aaron Boone said yesterday.
Right.
Look, so you got a guy in Clay Holmes that still after he blew that game on Tuesday night, people want to defend him. And I don't know how you can sit there and still at this point want to defend Clay Holmes. I mean, that's your prerogative. You know, a lot of times I'll come on here and start with the name calling. I'm not going to do that today. If you're that delusional, and delusional is not name calling, I think it's a scientific term. Would you say so?
No,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's an objective fact.
If you're that delusional at this point to still want to defend Clay Holmes, then I think you should seek counseling. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you should stop watching baseball. You should stop tweeting about the baseball and just seek counseling and have a trained professional assist you with whatever problems are going on in your life. Is that a fair statement to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, it takes a lot for me to block somebody, to block an account. You can call me the most horrific names imaginable. Really, I don't get offended by anything. You can call me whatever you want. You can disagree with me all you want. I embrace it. I encourage it. But I saw an account, and I'm not even going to give them credit to say the name. I saw an account after that start to post about how we're all idiots because Clay Holmes gave up his third home run since last August. And we're all the idiots, really. And I had this, you ever have a whole tweet written and you're like, you know what? Or like even a whole text to like fight with someone.
And it's not even worth sending.
And I just was like, why do this to why? Because if you're this delusional, it makes no sense. Why do it? And I deleted it and I was proud of myself. I blocked them, not because I don't block people again, because I'm offended. I blocked them because I think life is too short to be exposed to people who are that dumb. I couldn't do it anymore. If you are truly, if
Corinne
you're
in the
not a
chat,
troll,
everybody knows exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah,
We
that's what
don't
I'm
have
saying.
to-
Does it rhyme with Schmanky Schmiles?
who? I'm lost.
there's
We're
a-
trying to figure.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right,
If you
Go ahead.
so like there's two different people, right? There's trolls, which annoy me, but they're trolls. Right? Sal Licata might be one of the best in the New York sports, universe of being one of the best trolls. He lives to be a troll. And then there's people who will genuinely defend this guy. And I can't be associated with you in any way.
All right. So now for the rest of us that actually watch the Yankees play baseball and just don't look at pages on a computer, I did my own little punching in into the computer the other night after he blew that game, and I figured out that on May 20th, Clay Holmes allowed his first runs of the season.
Against
Right?
Kansas City, correct?
No, not against Kansas City, against Seattle. I think you may remember this game well because the Yankees were up 4-1 heading into the ninth inning, and then he allowed his first runs of the season. He allowed 4 runs, and the Yankees lost that game. Look, I know a lot. I understand that people want to take that and then say soft contact, bad defense. Okay. Bad luck occurs when you allow bad luck to happen to you. Okay. So yeah, did Clay Holmes get unlucky in the final game before the All-Star break when the game was basically handed to the Yankees twice with Volpe making an error and then Verdugo making an error? Yeah, it was. But who walked 2 guys in that inning?
Clay Holmes.
Did both of those walks scored? I'm saying you create your own bad luck sometimes.
Right.
So he allowed 4 runs. He allowed 4 runs to score on May 20th. So he had a 0 ERA going into that game. So this guy went nearly 2 months of the season without allowing any earned runs. Since May 20th, or including May 20th, I should say, Clay Holmes is pitching to an ERA of 5.05. That's exactly what you want from a guy that you think in your heart of hearts, and we'll get to this later, in your heart of hearts, you think that you're going to be in a position to close out a World Series. That's the guy you want on the mound getting those last 3 outs.
And you have to kind of like take it into context, right? Like, what was it over since May 20th?
505.
Okay, 505, right? If you told me a 4th or 5th starter in a rotation had a 505, it's still not good by any means.
You'd be calling for him to be removed from the rotation.
You would, and again, I'm not trying to say you're wrong there, but it gets even more heightened when you're talking about a relief pitcher whose job it is to only go out there and throw 1 inning, and you're not. And then you take into account he went how many months, like you said, 2 months, without giving up any runs. So he already, it's not like this is an inflated ERA here. This guy built up over 2 months of innings where he didn't give up a run at all. I mean, what's his overall ERA? It's got to be in the
three. I don't have it in front of me. Ryan, can you look that up real quick, please?
That's how good he was. And again, he wasn't like good in dominant fashion, but he got by. He didn't give up runs.
Is it like 327 or 357?
It's 327.
327. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes 2 months with a 0 ERA and then somehow builds this up to 327, 505 over the last few months. And this is a guy who needs to come in and get 3 outs.
And look, if you really pay attention to the Yankees here, I know he doesn't get a blown save because they didn't blow the game, but Gleyber Torres, of all people, makes a spectacular play. Anthony Rizzo picks it, or else he is ready. You can see him holding his stomach on Monday night, ready to vomit all over the field. He was ready to blow that game on Monday night. And Gleyber Torres, to his credit, said, no, not tonight. Maybe tomorrow, but not tonight. Clay Holmes has not been good for an extended period of time now, okay? You cannot sit there and say that this is a guy that you have confidence in. Because if you are lying to yourself and you're lying to us. You're lying to anybody you're having a conversation with, okay? Clay Holmes, and I'll say this again, now that they've removed him from the closer role, I still like him in this bullpen.
Right.
I think Clay Holmes is a good relief pitcher. He's not a closer. He's not a guy you can rely on to get the last 3 outs of the game. You could see the gears churning in his head on Wednesday night that he was mentally screwed as much as anything else that happened on Wednesday night. He could not, and I think Cone talked about this. He was all over the place. He couldn't rein himself in.
Throwing the ball 50 feet in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at the name of the position. He isn't just a relief pitcher. You know, it's in the name. He's supposed to be closing these games out. So I like what you said, Christian, how you do still maybe have that confidence in him as a relief pitcher, but that's a closer isn't he's in the bullpen, but that's a much different role, and he's just not up for it.
And also, I just want to add this. I actually think Clay Holmes is going to flourish in whatever role they give him right now. I really do. I think that's how bad of a closer he is, and that's how much he's not built to be a closer, that he's going to finally find some comfort in whatever role they give him, and he's going to be effective. And I only, at that point, pray to God that the Yankees are smart enough to leave him where he's at if he does find that success.
Well, I don't have this in front of me. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase things that Boone said they're going to get now creative, which is his exact word. And I hate when the Yankees say that because their creativity
sucks.
Well, yes, it does. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. When they get creative, you should get scared. Okay.
Yeah, all right. I got the quote here. He said,
okay.
Just try and put these guys in the best position to be successful. How that shakes out may vary a little bit every night, but in the short term, that's the way we'll go. At this point in the season where the race is and playoffs, it's about winning. This is Holmes now speaking. I think everybody's on the same page. Whatever it takes for us to go out and win, roles and definitions at this point, they are what they are. That was Holmes, that last quote.
Well, I give him credit for saying that because we've heard people on this team tell you what their position is, even though they really don't have a leg to stand on, even though, don't want to take too many shots at Glaber. Obviously, he's been a lot better lately. But so what is the Yankees' creativity now? So is it too little, too late? Yeah, this honestly, you know what, man? And I'm going to tell you this right now. I think the only reason that the Yankees did this is to further gaslight the fan base. Not that they feel that this is the right move. And maybe even, I don't even know if gaslighting is the right word, but maybe it is to kind of gaslight us into thinking that they are making the right decisions, because this is all right. So, when you're eating dinner and your dog is there and he wants some table scraps and you just give him some so he goes away.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the table scrap the Yankees gave us so we leave them alone and they can eat in peace, because they know that the fan base is outraged over what's going on with Jason Dominguez. So they had to give us something here. How many times I've come on here and said, I need a pound of flesh now? This is the pound of flesh that we've gotten.
It's not good enough. We can all agree on that.
I'm not saying that it is, but would you agree that at least part of me be thinking that this is not motivated by the results on the field, but motivated by getting the fans off their back for a little bit?
Yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, it sounds cynical, right? But what else are we left to feel? How else should we feel at this point other than cynical, pessimistic? Every bad adjective you can think of is how we're left to feel at this point. But here's something that I guess as I've gotten older in life and realized you got to pick your battles and whatnot, regardless of the reason why, I'm still happy about it. I'm still happy they made the move, whether it's for the right reasons or to get us off their back. I'm still going to take it as a W here.
We knew that Clay Holmes should have been removed from the closer role the day that he got announced to the All-Star team.
Right.
But that was already too far for me.
Right.
That this guy didn't even get in the game. Like, even Bruce Bochy knew. Like, come on, guy.
Yeah, dude.
You don't belong.
No, Clay Holmes knew. He booked a vacation. He didn't think he was going to be there. He didn't think he deserved to be there.
So the Yankees, for whatever reason, the Yankees made the right move. How long will it last now? Because I said this to somebody I was talking to on social media yesterday, that Clay Holmes would not have been available yesterday had they needed him, because he pitched 2 days in a row. The Yankees would not have made him available. So now with that, plus a day off, is it possible that if they need him on Friday, in a closing situation that they use him because they could have gaslit us into thinking that they did something because Boone didn't say that it's 100% we're not going to Clay. He did say that Clay is still kind of going to be in the mix here because that is kind of going to be closer by committee for a while. So would it totally shock me if the Yankees are up 2 runs going into the 9th inning tomorrow that Clay Holmes is the guy taking the ball? No, because I think this could have been.
Oh, it would shock me, dude.
You're the one that's usually more cynical about this organization than I am, and
because the Yankees have gotten better at this. Like you said, I believe wholeheartedly that your reasoning is why they're doing it, and they've gotten better at that. They've gotten a little bit smarter where if they're going to give us that little bit of scrap, they're not going to just rip it right back out of our mouths. They're going to let us enjoy it for a little bit.
Hey, Ray Gonzo in the chat, we can't bring back Michael Tonkin. Do you want to know why? Because
on the Twins.
The dummies that run this team decided that they could just let him go because they think he's worthless. And the Twins, who are a postseason contender, picked him up.
Yeah. I give myself a little credit for that Tonkin release. I told you it was going to be premature. I told you they'd release him before they released any of the other scrubs in the bullpen.
Wow.
And that they were just pushing the narrative, throwing him into 5-1 games, and there you go.
So short Tonk.
R.I.P. Honky Tonkin man.
Okay,
Yeah,
it wasn't the best
run
one out there.
It was a good run.
It was a good run. Okay, so can one of these relievers get on a good run? Do you think the Yankees? Now let's take this back to on the field here. They removed Clay Holmes from the closer role. Let's go on the assumption that they're actually going to do the right thing and let this breathe for a couple of weeks and see if somebody runs with the job. Maybe they do go back to him. I don't know, but hopefully, like at least for the next couple of weeks here, we can see somebody else do it. Do you think it's closer by committee? Do you think Boone's going to just rely on one guy here? Just let's start with that.
All right,
Just
here's what
just say yes or no what you think the next move is here. Closer by committee, or they let one guy run with it?
So just what I think they're going to do. You don't want to hear what I
No, because I want to segment this
All
conversation.
right, so I'll say yes to closer by committee. I think they've made that clear.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. But also, Clay Holmes is in that committee.
Okay, so DJ Steels, I love you, bro. I'm not reading your super chat. I'm going to leave out the middle of it. What's up, fellas? By the way, Chris, what flavor of douche whistle is that?
That's good. Strawberry lemon mint, by the way.
Because I'm pretty sure that's right on the line of what we can and cannot say.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
close. It's
possibly.
tinkering. It's tinkering.
It's Tonkin.
It's Tonkin in there.
All right.
There's another one in there too, I think. Another super chat.
Ra, what's up, bro? What's up,
Ra?
fellas? Yankees are treating Holmes like he has 300 career saves. When Chappie struggled, they've removed him out of the closer role, and Holmes is not even better than Chapman. He's not. But who do they replace Chapman with?
Mm-hmm.
Clay Holmes.
And Chapman was bye-bye.
And this was Chapman's fault, by the way. I said that a couple weeks ago. But
True.
Okay.
all right, Ryan, what do you think? You said closer by committee, right? That's what you think they'll
Yeah,
end up
closer by committee.
And the only reason why I'm asking is I know that Boone said that, but they also say one thing and then end up doing another.
Now,
Yeah.
you bring up an interesting point, Christian, though. I think that Clay Holmes will be first on the committee so long as it's not a one-run game. He will be the first option if tomorrow's game is a 2-run game. I do see them possibly going to
See,
Clay.
I'm not even going to say that you can't make him part of the committee. He can't be the first guy out, though.
He better
cannot-
not be, but I
he
could
cannot-
see it.
He cannot be the first guy to get a save opportunity. If you want to tell me now that like you went to Weaver, got a chance, Canley got a chance, Cousins got a chance, and then like 4th time around you went to Holmes, or even second, or he cannot be the first guy to get a save opportunity after you've done this.
No. And can I say this just really quick because it ties into what we're saying?
Yes.
The only reason why I'm confident they'll go with committee is because I don't necessarily, because if you don't go by committee, right? Let's just say Jake Cousins, right, gets the first nod, and he's great, right? Then it all works out, or Weaver, whatever. What going by committee allows you to do is keep Holmes in the mix. is keep going and moving guys around, never letting them get their feet, get settled in the closer role. And then that opens the door back up for them to say, yeah, Holmes is our guy, like we said.
Now, NYYST TBG in the chat says, has closer by committee ever won a championship? I don't know off the top of my head, but you've seen teams get creative with closing games in the postseason. Madison Bumgarner, Chris Sale. These are guys that come to mind that went in there and pitched in relief.
Randy Johnson, right?
Randy Johnson, Nate
Kurt
Eovaldi
Schilling.
did it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, big time. Yeah, Nate Eovaldi was a big one.
So, I mean, you can get creative with your bullpen in the postseason. So, look, we're spoiled having Mariano Rivera and knowing who our guy was. But in this season, it might not be the worst thing for the Yankees to get. I mean, like I said, them getting creative should get you scared, but them being creative with who gets the last 3 outs might not be the worst thing in the world for this team going forward. Now, obviously, when we talk about the Cubs, we'll talk about this a little bit further here. The Yankees are bringing back 2 of their starters this weekend. I believe I'll verify this when we bring up the Cubs, but Heels should be going tomorrow, and then Schmidt on Saturday. Now, because Boone was asked, you have 6 starters, you don't want to go to a 6-man rotation for now. Nestor's going to be in the bullpen to piggyback either one of those 2 guys in case there's a short start, because I don't know how far they're built up or whatever the reason would be. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later. I don't want to get into that conversation right now, but Boone said, never say never with one of those guys potentially being a late inning option. Now, to me, the more obvious choice is Luis Gil. Would you both agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the more obvious choice. Now, if the Yankees do go that route, which I think they will end up doing, I really do. I think they'll end up going that route by putting one of those 2 guys in a late inning role here going forward. Luis Gil is the most sexy because of the swing and miss stuff. Now, do you pair him with somebody and have co-closers? Because, Ryan, we talked about this in our chat the other day. I don't like, and I know, and I respect the hell out of David Cohn. I really do. And he was bringing this up that maybe he being Gil is the closer going forward. I don't like it because 2 reasons. One, we always talk about his strike throwing ability. That's number 1. And number 2, what is his availability going to be coming off this extended workload that he's had now, where we've seen signs of fatigue out of him? Are the Yankees going to make him available? If the ALDS needs 3 save opportunities, are they going to make him available 3 out of 4 days? Based on, his recovery time, based on all this, his history so far this year, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess that's where the creativity will come in then, huh?
So do you say Gil gets the first save opportunity and then he has a co-guy, like a Weaver or Canely, somebody else is in the mix, and then when he's available again, then he's the closer? I'm not against that, to be honest with you. I'm really not against that. Now, I know it might look stupid on the surface, but I don't trust him recovering, and I don't trust the Yankees making him available to recover and pitching back-to-back nights. What would you say about that aspect of it?
Well, I'll start by saying this. I'm not so much pro-Gil closer as I am open to the idea of him not being a starter. So let me just break that down a little bit more. In the beginning of the season and even through the middle when he got hot again, in my mind was, yes, I had my issues with him as closer because he has trouble throwing strikes, but my bigger issue was that he's too valuable as a starting pitcher, especially in the postseason when he was pitching that well. He's shown me enough inconsistency at this point where I feel like pulling him from that rotation in the postseason, if Clark Schmidt comes back strong, it's not the worst thing in the world because I don't know what we're going to get out of him as a starter anymore. So now I'm more open to the idea.
You don't know
Gil.
Get out? Okay.
Right. He lost that consistency that he had where he was so dominant. Now, as a closer, I don't know. I mean, I I don't know if I would be more focused on how he's going to recover as much as I would the upside that not only can he close out games, but if it's the 8th inning with 1 out, this is a guy who has started games all year. You can probably get 5-6 outs with him.
Would you bring him in? But that's another thing that you'd have to take a look at. You know, you're in trouble in the 8th inning. You need somebody to get up quick. Is he going to be able to do that? Or does he
I think there's enough time. If they make this switch quick, there's enough time to get his arm to that point.
If it's middle of an inning, I'm going with a more traditional reliever, either Cousins or
I agree with Ryan on this.
Just because the start an inning fresh, that's tricky. But the one thing I would make sure to do is not have Heel. If Heel is going to be in that closer role, he's not the 9th inning closer. He comes in the 8th inning. And because I feel like Heel, out of all these guys in the rotation, don't you kind of know when he's got it and when he doesn't right away? So you give him that 8th inning, you test him out, test the water, see what he's got, and then if you feel confident enough in his stuff from what you saw to bring him back out, then you bring him back out. But you give him that 8th inning buffer to see what you have, and then you take it from there. But you have to look into pairing these guys in a way that is creative, that is a lot different. And in my opinion, you go with somewhat of a mini rotation of 4 to 5 guys of Canely, Cousins, Heel, and Weaver. And you want to pair Heel and Weaver together because those are your multi-inning guys. So if one of the other is available, then you pick and choose, and then you complement that with either Canely or a Cousins, who is that 1 inning guy, and then you sprinkle in Clay Holmes when you have
and
to.
Don't forget Ian Hamilton is coming back.
Oh, and don't forget Ian Hamilton. And I'm not going to put Scott Efros in that category. Who knows if he'll even be on the postseason roster. But he's someone that I'm looking at to be that guy that comes out of the bullpen in a jam, who comes in the middle of an inning, who changes the speeds, and that's where Heel is my biggest factor, because he is the biggest difference from a complement to what, some of these guys in the rotation offer. So that's where it's Heel is definitely has to be in that conversation right
So
now.
let's get to this super chat from Rich Squires. It says, is it too late to bring Chapman back? 3 laughing emojis. Yes, Rich. Definitely. Okay.
I forgot about Hamilton coming back
Pick
too,
your
man.
poison.
So I like that idea, Ryan. I think you're on the money with what you're talking about right here. And I think, and this might be crazy, if you want to look bright side with Cousins, Heel, Weaver, Canely, Holmes, Hamilton, that's 6 right there. And again, this is a major leap of faith here that Aaron Boone is going to know how to do this correctly. The Yankees can get by in October with those 6 guys in the bullpen.
Yeah. Hey, I don't think, I shouldn't say this so definitively, but I don't think anyone would argue with that. Like, those names you just said are talented enough to be if they're used properly, to definitely be successful here. But like you said, man, there's one liability here, and it's been a constant liability for year after year.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are saying in the chat right now that Hamilton's been hurt a lot. Look, and nobody was a bigger fan of Ian Hamilton than me. We were calling him the G.I. Joe Terminator or whatever it was.
Now he's Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay.
Terminator reference. Okay.
He's just got to get. Can he give me like the next 6 weeks? Can I get that out of him, and then he can do whatever the hell he wants?
Here's something too, man. Hamilton was so good in the beginning of the year, and then I felt like he got hurt, came back, still looked like shit, hurt again. Maybe he was dealing with these injuries. Maybe a healthy Hamilton comes back, and he's the Hamilton that we got in the beginning of the season. Like, that's a huge if Hamilton can be the guy that, you could say it's about Holmes too, that we got in the beginning of the year before he got hurt the first time, that's a huge improvement to this bullpen.
Because then you can put a rotation together, like Ryan said, of pick 3 guys for game 1, 3 guys for game 2, then those 3 guys from game 1 go back to game 3, because you have guys that are multi-inning options. Maybe you think probably Cousins and Holmes you would want to split, because I think those are the only 2 guys that really wouldn't be able to give you multiple innings. They're more
right,
one,
and they're similar too. So you would want to keep them separated.
So you go like you would say heel. Let's just say for argument, like you go heel, Hamilton, Holmes, and then like Weaver, Canely, and who's the guy I'm missing?
Efros.
Oh,
Cousins?
not F. Yeah, and Cousins. Like that's how you would split them up.
Right.
You could do that. Like that's your game one bullpen. This is your game two bullpen, and then you cycle it out through the rest of the postseason. It's not a bad idea, and I think again, you're relying on a buffoon to do this correctly, which is the big flaw in all of this.
Right. The guy making those calls is the one that might get in the way of this being a somewhat successful creative choice here.
So I like how this is what I like about this show. That not that I get to spend time with you guys and talk about this team, but that we can work through the issues in a logical manner here. We went from Clay Holmes sucks, he can't be the closer anymore, to actually putting together a bullpen with the guys that are available that can actually work in October.
Well, isn't it kind of also like as good as it feels that we're able to do that? Isn't it also the reason why we get so frustrated when none of it happens?
Yeah, because we're three ding dongs and we just did this in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
All right, well, so
oh yeah, wait, hold on. In the chat, Eli just said, "Don't forget we have the great Mark Leiter Jr. too."
Yeah, no, for sure. In all honesty, I would be surprised if he's on the postseason roster.
Dude, if he's on the postseason roster, we might as well take it as seriously as the Yankees are at that point. I mean, come on.
All right, so I now is this is the main event. Okay, we warmed up, we had a good time, we actually did something constructive here.
It was constructive, yeah.
And now the gloves are off here. Now this is not Rocky versus Apollo in the ring, seeing who the better man is. This is Tommy Gunn and Rocky in the streets, throwing hands, getting smashed by buses now, okay? Because yesterday, okay, this happened. Yeah, well, this has been happening all season, but yesterday, and I'm going to pull up the quote here because we need the exact quote from Aaron Boone here, okay? Yesterday.
Can I just preface everything you're going to say by letting you know, because I don't know if you saw in the chat that Dominguez hit another home run just
No,
now.
I definitely saw it.
Okay.
I know. I'm aware that he did this. All right. Now, yesterday, the Yankees are trailing in the game. And I think I have it clocked at 450 times this has happened this year. You could tell me if I'm exaggerating a little bit, okay? But I have it clocked at 450 times this year that Alex Verdugo has grounded out to the right side of the infield.
And it's taken at least 8 bounces.
Okay. So as he's doing this for the 450th in record-setting time, he decides that walking, I guess, is the closest comparison of physical activity that I can come up with to what he actually did. Walking
if you're on a treadmill, it's at speed like 2.5, maybe.
No, you're not even hitting single digits. You're probably
you just unplug the treadmill and it's slowing down.
Okay, you did.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. You hit stop on the treadmill. Okay, but that would imply that you were running hard at some point in time.
Right.
He decides he's going to walk to first base, and now Mr. Michael K, the king of the YPM, must have gotten permission from his overlords to call out Alex Verdugo. Because then he goes on and says something to the effect of, I don't know if there's something wrong with Alex Verdugo's legs, but he's not even running. And I'm sitting there saying, oh my goodness, the Yankees want you to notice this now. Michael K was given permission by the YPM to talk about this because we've noticed it for months. For months. The guy's been a bag of dog crap since middle of June. Not hustling, not playing well. But now on September 4th, we're allowed to talk about it. Okay. Okay. Now, post-game, now that this is brought to everybody's attention, because the Yankees are very calculated, okay? This is no different than any political party running for any form of office. They only say what they want you to talk about. They'll
Right.
bring up topics and they'll push you in that direction. The Yankees
And-
are just like, go ahead.
And no one ever pushes back, right? It's always, here's what it is, and that's it.
Mhm.
Okay, so when a political candidate says something, it's because that's exactly what they want on your mind. So when the YPM allows Michael K to say this, they want you to ask the questions. And here's Aaron Boone's response, okay? Because maybe he didn't get the memo here. This is an exact quote. He's beat up. He's playing his ass off. He picks his spots. You see him beat it out when he needs to. He beats out the force play the other night to beat out the double play. Sometimes I wish it looked better on certain ones, but when he hits the one hopper to the second baseman and he's got it, I get the look. I don't have any issue with how hard he's playing the game. Okay.
I mean, I'll give him credit for the hustle on that, avoiding the double play. That was good, but it's not a matter of picking and choosing though.
Alex, how you feeling? I'm fine. I'm fine. So now not only do you have this guy who stinks, who is an unmitigated disaster, who's terrible, who shouldn't be playing for your team because of how bad he is, loafing out there. Now he just decides he's going to throw the manager under the bus as well. I mean, what are we doing here?
Did they
Aaron Boone-
preface that question by asking if, did they comment on Boone's comments? Like, did they bring up Boone saying that?
Yeah, no, Meredith asked him. He said Boone said that you were a little
Okay.
banged up.
Okay.
She did say that.
All right.
Vladdy P says, how do you guys feel about Michael K said earlier today on ESPN? I saw a little bit of it. And I posted the TikTok clip of it in our NYYU group chat. I don't remember exactly what he was saying now, but I said this is when I kind of lose all respect for Michael K. So obviously, I don't remember exactly what he said now, but it
He
was
was just saying he's not a gaslight. He
oh yeah,
doesn't
that's what he said. He's
gaslight.
not gaslighting people. Michael,
Yeah.
look, Michael.
He was saying he himself isn't.
Yes, he himself does not gaslight the fans. I mean, we sat here hours after you did it on Sunday. After you told us, you tried to convince us why it was a good idea that Jason Dominguez wasn't called up. Don't say you don't gaslight the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think I certainly don't think he's as bad as some of the other takes we get from other people. I'll give him that maybe, but he definitely does it.
And then he's referencing, like, he also said something along the lines of, like, Verdugo needs to cool down first before you bring up Dominguez, referencing his past like 9 games. Baseball is not it's not a football season. 9 games mean absolutely nothing. So his references and examples as to why they're not bringing him up made no sense to me.
So let's ignore the fact that the bum player who's going to play another 20 games for your organization just threw your manager under the bus. Let's ignore that fact. So now we have 2 things working here, okay? Either he's beat up and it's affecting his play and he shouldn't be in the lineup. Right? Is that number 1?
Right, number one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
number
but-
1. Or he's just lazy. And he shouldn't be in the lineup.
It's more than lazy, dude. Lazy is not wanting to. I don't know how I want to say this, but it's beyond lazy. It's selfish. It's
Defeated.
defeated. It's not giving a fuck.
Yeah,
is
selfish
a-
is a good one, dude.
This is a team. And all guys are guilty of it at some point, right? All guys are. Most of them. But when you're Alex Verdugo, this team's struggling beyond belief. You are just, like you called him, a pile of dog crap. And also, you should be kissing the Yankees' ass for you even still being here, given our other options. And that's how you repay the organization, how you repay your teammates, how you repay the fans. It's beyond lazy, man. It is and look, I do like Alex Verdugo, and I actually appreciate him saying, no, I'm not banged up. I appreciate it, whether it's throwing his manager under the bus or not, because maybe it won't, but maybe it should teach the manager a little bit of a lesson here. Maybe. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not just giving him a pass here saying he's lazy. It's beyond that at this point. And honestly, I don't really care what it is. This guy should not be in the lineup. But yes, those would be your two options there. There's no in between.
So the Yankees are continuing to play a guy right now. Look at it. Based on what they have just said to you, they are continuing to play a guy that is either too hurt to play at 100%, or they're just sticking with a guy that is just terrible at baseball and lazy. I don't know what is worse, honestly.
I find myself in this predicament all too often as a Yankee fan lately, not knowing which is worse, incompetence or delusion, or the lying. There's so many different options. I'm so sick of trying to decide which would be worse.
It's mind-boggling that this is a professional sports franchise that thinks that they can win a championship this year. And this is how they are run, where they are telling the fan base that he's beat up. That's why he can't play hard. And they put him in a lineup every day. And then that guy goes out and says, no, I'm fine. So then it reverts back to that he just sucks. And they keep him in the lineup every day. One of those two things is true. He's hurt or he sucks. Well, they both are probably. I mean, they could both be true.
Yeah.
But for the reasoning of why he shouldn't be in the lineup, pick your poison here. He can't play hard because he's hurt or he's just bad.
So why is he still in the lineup then? Is it just some sort of stubbornness that they just don't want to admit that maybe their moves aren't panning out the way they wanted them to?
I don't know, but I think there's obviously a third layer to this too that makes it worse. Like you're giving two options of why he shouldn't be in the lineup. The third one is, I'm sure we're about to get to. Maybe that's why you're not saying it. But the third one is we have a viable option to replace him. So like that's better regardless of if he's lazy or not. He's just better. And to me, it's like if this team was 4 or 5 games in first place and you want to sit here and tell me like these are the guys you're rolling with right now. Dominguez needs more time in AAA. There's no lane. If we're 4 or 5 games sitting a little comfy in first place, maybe I won't sit here and be okay with it, but at least I'll let it go. But this team is holding on for their lives against a team that should have ran away with it, while they should have also ran away with it because they tried to hand each other the division how many times. And this is still your answer? It is what, September 5th? And we're still having this conversation? I'm at the end here, man. I'm at the end, and it's just crazy to me that we're still talking about Alex Verdugo.
Now, I will say this though, Chris, because like you said with the closer thing, how, you're not going to knock it as much because at least they're doing something. Is your opinion, solid here, or are you willing to change that if they do call up Dominguez within the next week or two? Or is it too late?
Two things can be true at once. I still think that they moved Clay Holmes way too late. Like they didn't do it in time.
Well, I'm saying how you didn't, you gave them credit for at least doing something there.
If they make that right decision, despite everything they're telling us, I'm at least going to walk away and say, hey, might not have liked how long it took, might not have liked how they did it, hated all the lying and the gaslighting, but at least they fucking did it because this is what I believe is the best team right now. And so
right.
At least I'll walk away from it saying I'm happy there.
Okay. Same. I'll give him another week then. I'll give Verdugo one more week.
One more week, they might be 4 games out of first place.
Well, it's already too late. So it's at this point, you might as well see it because he is having a good stretch right now. I mean, he had a 9-game hitting streak or something. So let's see if he completely cools down and give it one more week.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a 9-game hitting streak, blooping balls. I mean, he's not hitting.
Yeah, I
anything
hear
with
you.
it.
I'm
I
not
mean, he's
even
not hitting you with
giving him
anything
much
with-
credit for it. It's just that he did get hot at the worst possible time in terms of making adjustments
See,
to
but
this roster.
that's the
Not for
Yankees.
them.
No, that's the Yankees again. We're like, oh, look.
Exactly. That's who I'm talking as the Yankee. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Yes.
9 games is not a large enough sample size to make any major decisions. But in the Yankees' eyes, it certainly is.
No, the Yankees have had 120 games of things that they've been looking at. They need more time on DJ LeMahieu. They need more time on
Yep.
Alex Verdugo. You know what
right
they're
there. They're right there.
You know, when they're
One
down
click away.
when they're down 7-3, trailing 2-1 in the ALDS in the 9th inning, and then Boone's going to give the post-game press conference. Well, we were right there till the end. We needed to another day, and DJ LeMahieu would have another day. Another day for what, bro? I mean, what else do we need to see out of these guys? Like, okay, you know what? Okay, Andrew Heaney pitched. Do we really need Anthony Rizzo on the bench? Do we really need to go with a right-handed lineup there? No, we don't need to do any of these things.
Here's the last thing I really have to contribute on this because I'm just so speechless really overall. You know how people will say like you'll scream fire Cashman and the most blatant response I'd say is, well, who are you going to replace him with? Who are you going to replace him with? Or, Clay Holmes shouldn't be the closer. Well, who's the answer then? Who's the answer? Here's where the Verdugo conversation should make us feel insane. You should be ripping the hairs out of your head that we are even having this conversation because not only is he playing the way he's playing, not only is he not hustling out ground balls, but the guy who should be here replacing him isn't just some Joe Schmo in AAA. It is a guy who the Yankees told us definitively was the only guy that could not be touched at the trade deadline. It's a guy who's tearing the cover off the ball right now. It's a guy who, if he was not hurt, would be the starting left fielder and in 2024 opening day. He is your future. He is going to be an integral part of this lineup for years to come. This is not just some idiot we're trying to get up here and give a chance. This is your future.
This is not Ben Rice here.
Right. So you're saying the talent is superior, right? That's what you're getting at. But then now think about the player. Now think about who you're going to have in the future. Who's on this team definitely next year? Verdugo or Dominguez? Who's in the Yankees system? So why are you making all of these accommodations for a player who you are not going to have next year?
This is the most. Go ahead.
That's exactly my point of why. Like on its face, we can have this conversation, and it is what it is, and it's frustrating, whatever. But when you really peel the layers, right? When you really get to the core of this thing, it is not just frustrating. It is absolutely insanity. It's insanity to think that a successful organization can be run like this right now. I just don't get it.
So Kyle Malay with another super chat. Thank you, Kyle. Have they checked Verdugo for a concussion? He's run into the wall 3 or 4 times this year. I mean, yeah, we've been talking about that for about a month now. We feel like
that'll be their article that comes out in November.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I told Chris this, that when he brought that to my attention, I wanted to respond to him. You are stupid. But then I was like, oh, they just did this last year.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, when I texted it over, like he might be concussed, I actually had to stop and be like, no, they wouldn't do that. And I was like, oh yeah, they already did.
So you got Aaron Boone out there publicly telling the world that he's too hurt to play hard, right? Okay.
So hard.
And I'm sitting here thinking to
No,
myself.
No. So hurt. He's too hurt because of how hard he plays. Christian.
Hard again.
Okay. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, this guy's got 4 kids. How does he discipline these kids? Hey,
Cupcakes and ice cream.
Hey, Tommy, you took your mother's car out when I told you couldn't. You're grounded for a week. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
Dad. You
he's going to
realize?
start listening. It's right in front of it. He is going to start listening really soon.
Yeah, okay, Dad. Don't you realize that everything that you say is all over the internet? Okay, so I'm taking the car out tomorrow again. Okay, so it's just so this came out right before we started to record here, and this is from John Heyman. Uh, Yankees executives are fighting amongst each other over whether to call up Dominguez. And this is a quote. Boone mentioned a pre-September conversation among Yankee higher-ups about whether to promote Dominguez. And insiders say it was a very spirited dialogue with multiple executives strongly arguing for the promotion, obviously unsuccessfully.
Well, it's nice to see there are people in there that do think, for the fan a little bit, or at least the way we've been talking.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The guys, the two dummies that get to make the ultimate call are the ones that don't. And look, obviously that should infuriate anybody that you have people in this organization, people high up in this organization that are pushing back on this because they know this is the right thing to do. Okay. Obviously that should piss everybody off that for some reason the Yankees are continually not doing this. And I want to bring this up because we spent a good majority of last episode talking about that they're doing this to keep his rookie status. Now, again, I only heard this in one location. I haven't heard this be widespread. I do want to bring this up to err on the side of fairness here. But according to Baseball America, Jason Dominguez cannot keep his rookie status for next year, regardless of the amount of at-bats that he's had, because he's accrued Major League service time this year for being on the Major League injured list.
It's actually, I forget where you just said you heard that, but it's not accurate.
So it's not, so Baseball America.
It's not accurate.
So Baseball America is lying.
I don't know if that they were lying or what happened, but IL time does not contribute. It's
which
not
is somebody
accurate.
brought up to me, but I wanted to. Okay, so that's not accurate.
From everything I've read in the other direction, no. It used to be. It used to play into all of that, I believe, but it does not anymore. It does not count against it.
Well, I did want to bring that up. So if it is proved as fake news, then it's fake news. But
it
seems like that makes it worse.
It seems like it might. It like service time is no longer really the factor for what determines a rookie. It's all about 130 at-bats, 50 innings pitched, or 45 days on the active roster.
Look, because if that was actually true and they're keeping him down in AAA, then it's just a whole nother level of malfeasance on their end there.
Yeah,
big time.
Yep.
That you're not even trying to gain anything out of doing this. You're just this stupid. So I'm hopeful that it is not true, but I did want to bring that up there. Okay, now if Jason Dominguez is raking in AAA, who's he got? Another 3 hits tonight?
Or something like that. It's a home run at least.
I think I know he had a 107-mile-an-hour single in his first at bat, so he's got a home run. He added a home run to that.
I'll look it up.
The Yankees, okay, they have people actively fighting in this organization to call this guy up, and they won't do it. I mean, 3 hits and a walk, Jones says.
Okay.
Joni.
I mean, it's frustrating, dude, that there are actually people in this organization that know what the right thing to do is and that they can't get past this brick wall of a bald weasel to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, I told you guys this a couple of years ago. My wife's uncle's a scout for Major League Baseball. He has close friends that are scouts for the Yankees, and he said that all the old school guys hate working for the Yankees now. They don't listen to him. It's all about either computers or other agendas, and it's never just on its face talent over everything else. It's just not anymore.
You know, this is why the Yankees are unserious about winning a World Series this year. Okay, this is why we're witnessing it right now. That they're lying to your face One way or another, this organization is lying to you about what is going on with Alex Verdugo. Okay. And they have a better option available to them. And they do nothing about it.
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
No, because when I told you that I was at the end of my rope here today, this is what I'm talking about, is because you can't even pick what is going on that's wrong here. So it's one of two things, and you don't do anything about it.
And that is because they trust their process. They trust that what they're doing is absolutely the best and most optimal way to win a World Series. You saw it last year. Why didn't they make moves at the deadline? What was their reasoning? What did they say? We trust these guys.
Not
These are our
just
guys.
to win a World Series, but to be competitive every year and to gain something with every move they make. And that kind of goes to the point I was going to make real quick, that I'll be honest with you, I've maybe only watched 1 or 2 post games this year, if that. I turn the TV off immediately, whether they win or lose. And it's because I've gotten myself to a point where I don't care what they tell me anymore. And if you do that, if you separate yourself from what they're telling you and just focus on what you see in front of you, it doesn't matter what their reasoning is for not calling up Dominguez. It doesn't matter if they genuinely believe Verdugo's the answer. All that matters is that you separate yourself from everything except for the truth, which is right in front of you. And the truth is, whether Dominguez is going to translate this year better or not, he is your future. Verdugo sucks. He's not running out ground balls. And there is no excuse for Dominguez not being in this lineup right now. And that is as simple as it can get. No one can tell you otherwise. If anyone tells you you're wrong about that, they need to really figure themselves out, because you cannot argue that fact. You just can't.
What frustrates me more than anything is the parity in Major League Baseball this year. Okay. Nobody has less. How do I want to phrase this perfectly? Nobody has less losses than the Yankees do in the American League this year. That means they're there. They're right at the top of the American League.
In front of us.
Okay. And again, people that want to say, oh, well, look at the record. How could you get this upset? The record is why I get this upset, because they are tied or half game, whichever way you want to look at it, for having the best record in the American League is why I get so upset. Because if they had a clue, if they had the smallest idea of what to do, of how to run this team, they'd be in first place by a minimum of 5 games. A minimum of 5 games if they had an idea of how to run this organization, of how to run this baseball team. And I said it before we came on here. You can give me Brian Cashman. You can give me the exact 26 guys, 28 now, that are in this, that are here. If you had Carlos Mendoza, and I'm bringing him up because he was here last year as Boone's bench coach, and he's doing a hell of a job managing a very less talented Mets team across town. You're watching them every day. You had Carlos Mendoza in this dugout over Aaron Boone. I'd feel that would translate to at least 2 or 3 wins right now. They don't respect Aaron Boone. And you can sit there and say whatever you want to say about David Stearns allows it. Look, at the end of the day, all managers are basically the same right now. They all believe in whatever the organizational philosophy is. They're really not there to be X's and O's guys like you would see a head coach in the NFL. They're all about managing personalities and getting accountability out of their players. He gets no accountability out of this team. This team is soft. You see it every time that they get punched in the mouth. It's very, very rare that they get up off the mat and they swing back. Joe Girardi's teams didn't do that. Joe Torre's teams didn't do that. Aaron Boone's teams do that. Okay, there's as much as we love some of these guys on this team gets punched in the mouth. They stay on the mat. Okay, that's a reflection of the manager. They all talk the same. It's right in front of us. It's just a bad stretch. We're really good. We're tied for first place. Look at a record. Look at the rest of the league. That's not what I want to hear out of anybody, including Aaron Judge. I hate taking swings at Aaron Judge, but even I want to hear him say, listen, this is unacceptable. We expect to be better than this. Not, yeah, we're grinding right now, blah, whatever the hell it is that they say. It's all word salad. It's all mumbo jumbo. It's all the same garbage, just regurgitated in different ways. I'm tired of hearing it. I just want to hear somebody step up and say, this is unacceptable. And I don't want to hear it be fake outrage like we saw with Boone a couple of years ago, punching the microphone.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then-
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It just bothers you because that excuse mindset and that excuse mentality, it's just, what does that even do? It kind of feels like, if you're starting a diet or something, how, I'll just start tomorrow. I'll pick it up tomorrow. It's like, where's that fire? Start right now. Get it going now before it's too late.
And then you sit there, right? And then you're listening to all this garbage is being spewed out of everybody in this organization. And it just frustrates you because you know that this team, even as constructed, is more than talented enough to win the World Series this year if they were managed properly. If you had a guy that knew what he was doing when the lights are on brightest and didn't curl up in the fetal position when he has to make tough decisions and knew how to get the most out of these guys, that you would feel confident going into October. I'll take the Yankees 26 over going up against any other 26 in baseball this year. I'm telling you, and I'm not saying that as a Yankee, but as with Aaron Boone managing them, I don't feel confident in this team. There's no way you can. He doesn't even know what end is up when he tells you that the player is hurt, and then he tells you the player himself says, no, I'm fine. That's just a guy that's not a leader. It's not a guy that should be leading men into battle. And yes, I know battle, it's not war, but leading men onto the field of battle in a figurative term when you're going out there trying to fight for every out, every run, scratch. Look, I love Jazz Chisholm, right? I think he's been a hell of a find for the Yankees. Gave Brian Cashman credit for this, right? It just goes to the lack of the baseball IQ of the players on this team. Yesterday, the Yankees have an opportunity to get back in the game. Evaldi throws 8 straight balls to Judge. It's a Soto and Judge, and he swings at the first pitch. That just stems from a lack of IQ and a lack of fundamentals, and it all comes down from Aaron Boone. And that's why I tell you, you can keep Brian Cashman making decisions of the guys who are on the field, as long as Aaron Boone is the guy that these players are in direct contact with every day. I cannot get past that. I just cannot get past Aaron Boone managing this baseball team. I can't.
We do have a super chat here from Ra again. Mike Lupica wiped the floor with K yesterday. Said the Yankees suffer from institutionalized stubbornness. Called their theory of crapshoot playoffs BS. If it's such a crapshoot, why do the Astros keep playing for the pennant? Yeah, that's and that's always that reference that you can go back to. Why is Houston always there? And then institutionalized stubbornness. That's a good way of putting it. What do I always say? Delusional ignorance or something like that. So Lupica, what are you doing here, bro? Are you taking my shit, Mikey?
Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick point. Let's just assume, for argument's sake, it is a crapshoot, right? If you're entering yourself and maybe a few of your buddies into a competition that is ultimately a crapshoot, right? There's obviously still an advantage, right? No matter what, or else then you're telling me you're playing slots in Atlantic City or Vegas, right? If it's a true crapshoot, means you have no say, right? You get there, you pull the lever, and maybe you hit the jackpot, right? That's a crapshoot, right? So there's still some level of competitive edge. And if you want to tell me that it's not the players constructed on the field, because that's the ultimate argument, is that Cashman doesn't go above and beyond because it's a crapshoot. That's what they tell us. There's still one thing that you can control, and it's the person leading you through it. And the reason why the Astros may not always have the greatest teams, but they still get to where they want to be, has been, and yeah, you want to fucking say cheating, fine, whatever. But they've had a good leader. They had a guy who was itching to get to where he got a couple years ago, right? Baker had never been to or never won the World
Never
Series.
won the World Series, yeah.
But he's a guy who has led a lot of successful teams. You know, you want to talk about the Red Sox maybe not being the most talented, but Alex Cora being a good leader. Like the Red Sox should be nowhere near what they're at right now. They have a good leader.
They're really in a free fall right now.
Yeah, I understand that, but just overall.
No, but I was hurt. Not that I was hurt. I was upset when Alex Cora re-signed there because he's going to get the most out of the young players they have coming up. And I know this was a pipe dream, but I was really hoping out the faintest of hopes that he would be a Yankee.
I mean,
Yeah.
they might be spiraling now after that Mets sweep, but I believe over the last like 70 games prior to that, they were the best team in the AL East.
My point is this isn't an algorithm. This isn't just you pulling the lever at a slot machine. If you want to tell me the players on the field don't ultimately matter, then there is one thing that still does, and it's
Why'd you go get, if it doesn't matter, why'd you get Juan Soto?
Exactly, right? So on its face, it's a lie. It's BS. But even if you want to feed me that BS, I'm still going to counter with, give me a leader then who can successfully bring these guys to the end. And it's not Aaron Boone.
Look, and I've said this 100 times, man. I'm sure he's a great guy. We rallied around him when he had that heart issue, and we said, what a guy, man. He doesn't even need to be here, and he's getting on a bus to go manage a spring training game in the rain fresh off of a pacemaker surgery. And then it's just this. It's just this. 7 years. Like, if we started at level 10 with the first year of Aaron Boone, he's never advanced beyond that. Like you were hoping, or level 1, I should say. Like you, level 1, and you're hoping every year he grows, and maybe like around like 2019, he got a little bit higher because he really did get a lot out of that team in 2019 with all the injuries and the Cameron Mabins of the world. He really did. But since then, man, it's just been a massive descent for him. Whereas anybody with a brain is watching this, and a supervisory power is looking at this and saying, look, because any job in the world, you give a guy X amount of years, whatever, to grow into the role, and then he starts regressing. How many years do you wait before you say it's not working? It's time I got to put somebody else in there. A year,
Right.
2 years. We're 4 years into this now, where we've realized it's not going to work with him. It's not going to work with him. 20, 21, 22, 20. It's actually 5 years now. 5 years where we've been able to say he's regressed as a manager. And I'm telling you, you can say whatever you want. I would be willing, more than willing. I'll go there and I'll drive him to Yankee Stadium to sign the contract. If the Yankees win the World Series this year and they want to give Aaron Boone an extension, I'll drive him there to sign the contract, right?
I'll sign it for him.
But if they lose this year, he's getting another 3 years. And that should not happen. And then you want, oh, you don't think they'll it's going to take if they get to I'll tell you this, okay? They get one of the top, the worst they're going to finish this year is a top wild card. I'm just saying hypothetically. Worst they finish this year's top wild card. They would even count winning the wild card series as winning a round. He's coming back.
If that happens, man, I know I say it all the time.
All right.
I'm being dead serious. I will barely watch this team until there's a regime change.
Do you get a tattoo of "I'm done" across the Yankee one you have?
I promise you, if they don't win it all and Boone comes back, my ugly ass tattoo will get covered up with a big X through it and an "I'm done." I swear to God, I promise you I'll do it.
Because there was reports, and I wish that I had, that Aaron Boone needed to win a series in the postseason to be guaranteed to come back next year. Not multiple, not get to the World Series, not win the World Series, a series. So I'm saying if they win a wild card round, that's going to count as a series to the Yankees. Not even getting to the ALCS, winning a round.
Crazy.
But that is what we're dealing with here. So, you know what, man? And this is, I don't know when or if if Jason Dominguez is coming up, because now John Birdie is playing left field. Because this is what we need, right? Just to show you the level of organizational competence that the Yankees are telling you, like, oh, you know, we just need Birdie to be more versatile. No, you don't. The guy's already more versatile. He can pretty much play any infield position. You have an outfielder, a guy you believe is a generational talent.
Untouchable.
And here's what's so, and this is the last thing I will say before we look ahead quickly to the Cubs here, right? This is what frustrates me so much about the whole Jason Dominguez situation, is that if he doesn't get hurt last year and he's completely healthy in spring training, he's the left fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's healthy and he's scorching hot. What has changed? And you cannot tell me with a straight face that it's Alex Verdugo being here and then tell me that you're serious about winning the World Series.
Two things can't be true at once there.
Because I'll be the first to tell you, and I've said it on the show numerous times months back, if everybody's healthy and playing well because of the injury, there's no place for Jason Dominguez. But you have to sit there and look at what is factual right in front of you. That Alex Verdugo is not even performing at a level that warrants him being on a major league roster, let alone starting every day for a team that thinks that they can win a world championship. So now tell me why this plan has changed. That Alex Verdugo wouldn't even be a Yankee if Jason Dominguez was healthy. So let's go back to that plan where Jason Dominguez is healthy and Alex Verdugo is not a New York Yankee. And here's something, going back to Clay Holmes real quick, because I want to touch on two things that happened in the Texas series. Number one, that was the best we saw of Garrett Cole all season long. I was beyond happy with his performance. It sucks that he got the cramp because he was ready to really dominate that game and possibly see the 8th inning. It really sucks that he got that cramping. And he had to come out of that game. That was the best he's been all year. That was Cy Young Garrett Cole. That was the ace. That was the guy we need leading the staff in October. He was on the mound in Texas on Monday night. And I'm really disappointed, not in him, just the fact that he got a cramp and it ruined what would have been just a stellar evening for him. Not that he wasn't great before that. And here's going on to Carlos Rodon. What a wasted game, because I don't know if we'll ever see Carlos Rodon as good as he was on Tuesday night. He was friggin' filthy, disgusting with that slider, pumping that fat. That was the best version of Carlos Rodon that we've seen all season. And what a waste that we didn't win that game because of this, because of a poor defense. And again, the lefty's out of the game. The lefty's out of the game, and DJ LeMahieu still playing at first base when you have an all-world first baseman sitting on the bench.
And then
who
he
pinch hit for, who he ended up pinch hitting for.
It doesn't look. Here's the tough part of doing this show every, twice a week, is because no matter how loud we scream it, no matter how many times we say it, it never makes more sense. It's almost like, yeah, of course that's what he did. Like, what are we, dumb? Yeah, of course Aaron Boone left DJ out there and then pinched hit for Rizzo anyway after a big error where it made no sense and it was ruined anyway. Like, of course that happened, guys. Like, this is what we signed up for. This is who you root for. Why get angry over it anymore? Right? Why question it? This is what... Look, all of us in this chat everyone listening or watching this in the future, us three here, this is what we support. We support a bunch of idiots running a team, not playing the best guys, and telling us we're wrong. I don't know any other situation in my life where I'd sign up for that. But here I am. Here we are. Right?
I have one last point that I wanted to make. I meant to bring this up earlier, but Tony 23 just said it in the chat and it reminded me. He said, you got Aaron Judge sticking up for Verdugo. How much do you guys think that Aaron Judge has influenced these decisions, if at all? Is he going in there and is he sticking up for his guys to the point that he's influencing decisions?
I think this goes beyond Aaron Judge. I
think
do.
they gaslight Aaron Judge almost as much as they gaslight us. I think they let him sit down in the meetings and tell him he has an influence, but there's certain decisions that not even top executives can argue and get them changed. So I think Judge is just doing what he
good point of connecting it to the other executives as well.
But here's the thing, and I'll say this again for the 100th time. It's not Aaron Judge. Even if Aaron Judge, to a man, thinks that Alex Verdugo stinks and should be out of the lineup, that's not for him to say in the media. He's the captain of this team. That's not for him to say. He's there to keep the team cohesive and stick up for his guys in the media. It's up to Aaron Boone to put a little bit of pressure on this guy and not give him a friggin' lifeline here that he didn't even want, that he threw back at you. The Titanic is sinking. Aaron Boone is standing there with the only raft to get Alex Verdugo off the waters and onto safe land. And Alex is like, no, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
And you want to know what the worst part is? And this is the last I'll say. The worst part is if Aaron Boone is asked about this before the next game, he will double down. He'll double down on it. He won't learn from this. He will literally double down. I've seen him do it before. You know, Doogie's never going to admit to stuff like that, but I see these guys on a different level. He works hard. Maybe he doesn't even feel it, but I know after a long, grueling season, I've done it. Blah, blah, blah. More of it, more of it, more of it. And that's the worst part. It really is.
So this is the last thing I'll say because I wanted to say this when you were, what were you saying that what were you saying about coming on here screaming and yelling? You can't do it anymore. Is that what you're basically saying?
I was saying, why even bother?
I'm going to tell you why bother. Okay. Because if I lose this passion for this team, then they've defeated me. And then that's the end of it. When I come on here and don't feel this type of emotion, whether good or bad for this baseball team, that's when the show will cease to exist. And then that's when I am no longer a fan of this organization, of this team. If they ever get me to that point where I can't get my blood pressure raised one way or the other of being excited about them playing well or coming on here being so just pissed off about how poorly they're playing and how poorly they're run, then they've defeated me and this is all over. So if that's what you want, then maybe sooner than later that will happen. But I personally, I don't want that to happen, and I will not let them do that to me. So I'm not
saying don't be angry or whatever. I'm just asking, are you shocked?
No, I'm shocked by nothing they do. That's why earlier I said if Clay Holmes closes tomorrow, it wouldn't surprise me.
All right, so then that's different. I mean, I still get riled up, but I'm just not shocked anymore. Like, this is what we've signed up for. And I said it before, I never really put it this way, but I don't know any other situation in my life where someone would say to me, you're going to spend 6 months watching a team that's going to make you miserable or doing anything that's going to make you miserable. You are the people who you are doing this with are going to lie to you and treat you like you're dumb. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to want to rip the hairs out of your heads with the decisions they make. Here's a pen, sign here for it. I don't know anywhere else where I do it, but I do it here willingly. willingly every single year.
So if I came to you and I said, listen, here's this absolute smoke show dime piece right here. She'll be yours. You marry her, but you don't get to sleep with her. She'll spend all your money. She's going to sleep with other men. And in the time that she's in your house, she's going to treat you with no respect and just make your life utterly miserable.
That's a good comparison.
Would you marry her still?
No.
But we did. We married her.
We did, yeah. We did. We sure did. Oh, she kind of catfished you because when you married her in the beginning, she was the person that you thought you married. And then all of a sudden, she just becomes this completely different
Fucking catfished.
human being, and she catfished you, and now she doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, now you're locked. You're locked in.
You're locked in. There's nothing new. You had kids already.
There's too much
had
emotion
kids with her?
attached to it. Yeah, there's too. There's
You
too
don't
much
want to pay.
baggage.
You don't want to pay alimony.
A Boonie baggage.
You don't want to look for another girl.
No, here's the problem. They're not even your kids.
They're not even your kids.
All
Only
right.
here, folks.
So the Yankees, who if they lose tomorrow, will now be will no longer be 20 games over 500. That's where we fall on here. So
Jesus.
they're 80 and 60 right now. We're playing a Cubs team who are barely above 500 at 72 and 68. So maybe the Yankees will win this one. They like playing good teams.
I don't know. We'll see.
But we got all 220 starts, the old Chicago afternoon games, Friday,
Ugh.
Saturday, and Sunday. What's your problem?
A Friday afternoon game is just
It's Wrigley
miserable.
tradition.
I know.
Oh
And
yeah,
if-
I never realized that. They
They do the flag. They put the flag up if they win.
And if you really want to feel optimistic about this, maybe we can get like something working here where we get a little magic going. Because you've remembered the last time the Yankees were in Wrigley, 2017.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was a good time.
Okay, that was kind of when you knew that 2017 team had a little magic in them.
Well,
I parked
also-
that one out the wall right field. That was good.
Also, it's the only stadium Aaron Boone hasn't managed in and left a shit stain on the walls. So maybe a little fresh scenery here.
Don't worry, Mark Leiter will take care of that for his reunion.
Yeah.
So we got Luis Heel coming off the IL to take on Jordan Wicks on Friday. Then Saturday, it's Jesus Christ, it's Clark Schmidt's coming off the IL
Hell
to
yeah.
take to Javier Assad is opposing him, and then Garrett Cole off his leg cramp Sunday to close out the series against his best friend in the whole world, Jamison Tyone.
Yeah. Here's something I want to call on Chicago Cubs fans to do. I don't even want to say if, I'll say when Mark Leiter gets the ball in his first appearance back. I want the biggest roaring standing ovation as a thank you for him not being in Chicago anymore. Because that's really the only appropriate way to honor him, that he is no longer your issue anymore.
So now here's the question for Sunday, right? Based on my normal fandom, Yankees are on at 220. The Giants are on at 1 o'clock. It's their first game of the year, right?
Mhm.
But and that's probably going to be right around halftime too, a first pitch of the Yankee game. Normally, I would just give the Giants the first half, do a little flick back on commercial, give the Yankees most of my attention. Am I so pissed with this team on Sunday that I give the Giants the full?
It's so funny. I'm the one who
No.
says I'm done all the time, and yet I'm way more committed than you. Like, not in a bad way. I'm not knocking you. I'm saying I don't have any other teams to do that with. So, like, I don't even have that option.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't have a lot to fall back on. in
Like,
the
I'm
sports world.
more in this because I don't have anything else to fall back on.
Or
But here's
win
what
it.
I'll say to you: you wait to see how the first two games play out.
Or has Daniel Jones thrown 3 interceptions?
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
wanna
say by
put-
halftime the game's over, Christian. So you should be good.
I don't. Or
No,
do
I'm
I
joking.
want to put myself through the pain of watching the Yankees? It could be double pain.
Actually, you
Yeah,
should
do a
this.
split screen of
You
pain.
I was just gonna say, split screen it. Just really put yourself through the most torture possible. Hug your
So-
kid, hug your wife, lock yourself in the room, watch both games at once, and just really contemplate what the hell.
Maybe
you're doing.
that'll cancel it out and it'll like make you it'll like feel good.
So what I'll do on Sunday is I'll take a picture of myself with the Giants on the TV, the Yankees on the iPad, and a gallon of bleach next to me.
Perfect.
All right, so it's this is one of our shows always seem to be long, but this is one that I felt was very much more organized than they usually are, and so I think that this warranted being as long as it was. We had good conversation. We worked through our Clay Holmes issues. We have not worked through our Aaron Boone issues. Okay, we're not licensed for that. Okay, that's somebody that actually went to schooling and has a doctor's degree that's going to need to work us through our Aaron Boone issues.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank everybody that's been in the chat tonight. We love you guys. We appreciate your support. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, subscribe to NYY Underground. It is pinned to the top of the chat. Please get your tickets to NYYU Day. It is a mere if you'd be listening on Friday, it'd be a mere 8 days away here next Saturday. Okay. September 14th out at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be a hell of a time. Just hundreds of the NYYU team and the crew, the fans. It's just going to be a bonkers time, and we'll be outside to enjoy all of it against the Boston Red Sox. So please get your tickets, man. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you that I haven't met already, and then if we have met, just catching up and saying what's up. So please get your tickets there. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, just now that the show's over, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. Okay. Sub to NYYST on your favorite podcast platform, and tell everybody you know that NYYST is the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. Thank you so much for your continued support of NYY Underground and the NYYST podcast. Thank you very much for listening and watching episode 420 SGR.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet.